from King Township Public Library. Welcome to April Break at Home. Today I wanted to talk about different ways to deal with stress and even talk about what stress is. Because I know a lot of students out there are having a very hard time dealing with the online schooling and not being able to see people, and it's totally understandable. We're in a pandemic, which is not a normal situation. It's almost traumatizing sometimes. And feeling stressed and overwhelmed and even lonely is completely valid. The whole world is turned upside down, so you're most certainly not the only one having a hard time. I know I've struggled just with school in general, and to have the added stress of not being able to physically go in, not being able to see any of your friends, it's a really hard situation, and I really applaud all of you out there who are doing your best and getting by. First off, what is stress? Stress is a physiological reaction in your body to an unpleasant situation. It's pretty much chemicals when you get down to the root of it that's causing all the feelings and physical symptoms. And there's the two main types. You've got instantaneous, like fight or flight. I need to do something right now if this is a bad situation. Or you've got more of a slow, like a long-term simmering type of stress that's caused from worry, which I think is more what a lot of you are dealing with, is the long-term worry-based type of stress. There's a funny little acronym for identifying the four most common causes of stress. It's called NUTS, N-U-T-S. And so it stands for novelty, which means if the situation is new, unpredictability, which means this is unplanned, it's a surprise. T is threat to the ego, which basically means it's a threat to your sense of self. So that type of stress would be something like bullying. And then S is your sense of control. So feeling helpless to control a situation. And dealing with a pandemic, I think almost all of these apply. So now that we've identified what stress is, what's kind of the causes of it, let's talk about how to alleviate it. Now, since we're talking about chemicals, the chemical we want to create in our body to counteract the stress is called endorphins. And endorphins can be created in a number of ways, really. You know, all those like cliche, pretty much stereotypical ways people say to de-stress, like take deep breaths, get some exercise, go for a walk. These all actually work. I know it gets frustrating and you don't really tend to believe it. I know I don't after hearing it so many times. And I know I personally am the type that'll feel, no, taking a deep breath isn't going to make me feel better about this situation currently in front of me. But there is actual scientific evidence that proves that these work. There is chemical reactions going on inside your body that's lowering your stress levels. So I don't know if people are like me, that hearing that kind of helps. I know I prefer to hear, that this actually does work. It's actually doing something. So let's start with breathing. Breathing is pretty much the go-to, and it makes sense. It's the simplest. And it really does have an effect, because when you're breathing from your diaphragm, which is kind of your rib cage area, when you extend your diaphragm past a certain point, you create a parasympathetic response in the body, which terminates the stress signals. So you are actually stopping the stress signals going on inside of you. And just by taking deep breaths from your diaphragm, and there's so many, tutorials, I guess, and there's different ways to do breathing exercises. I know one is you do a Wonder Woman pose, but rather than have your hands on your hips, you put them on your ribs here, and you take a deep breath in for 5 seconds. So you go And then you exhale for 5 seconds. 5. And you don't really want to completely deflate yourself. You try to stay like that and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inward. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outward. And you'll actually feel the pressure in your diaphragm, like feel it extend. And doing that several times will actually have an effect on the stress you're feeling. Another way, obviously if you don't like doing poses, there's a simpler way of just doing, close your eyes and you inhale for a couple seconds. So, and then exhale for the same amount, let's say 3. And yeah, you just do that when you're on your own and you're feeling overwhelmed. Do that a couple times. And just doing the deep breathing, that's why you count. That's causing enough time for your full chest and diaphragm to fill up. Because if you just go, that's not going to create the endorphins. If you do attend counseling or anything, there are breathwork therapies that they're called. There's about 3 or 4 types. So if you did want to get very serious about, I want to use my breathing to de-stress and really learn how to master that, there are ways. So the most common is called deep relaxation breathing, which is pretty much what we just did. Then you've got mindfulness breath work, and holotropic breath work, and then yogic breathing, which is pretty much the breathing exercises you do during yoga. And now these are, I can't really explain those, they're professionals who talk about those if you did want to learn more about that. So again, deep relaxation breathing, mindfulness breath work, holotropic breath work, and yogic breathing if you wanted to look more into those. Also, if you find breathing boring, which, I'm sure some people do, because again, it's just a basic bodily function. We all breathe. You can actually incorporate something else into it. Singers know that you need your diaphragm for singing. So if you want to sing, to do your inhale, exhale, do that. If you want to pray, do that. Even if you want to study while you're doing your breathing exercises because you like to feel productive, try to do on every exhale, recite a term you need to know for whatever subject you're doing. There are so many ways you can make breathing exercises more interesting and make it a part of your daily routine. It's actually recommended to do some deep breathing exercises at the start of your day, in the middle of the day, and the end of the day, and then obviously during any high stress situation. Also, if you don't want to be super aware of your breathing and you just, you want to focus but know that you're still breathing calm, having slow, calm music actually will influence your breathing. It's just a subconscious thing that we do. Now, you don't have to go out and put on jazz because not everyone likes jazz. But you can make a playlist of artists you like and all of their slow songs and make that a homework playlist, because that way, as you're working, you're subconsciously doing deep breathing because your breathing is matching the music you're listening to. Next, another way to get some endorphins is exercise. When your body goes through, tedious, strenuous activity for a consistent period, it actually will release endorphins. But another reason that exercise actually really helps to alleviate stress is because when you're in a fight or flight situation, our caveman brains had developed, they realized, hey, we need energy to either fight this problem in front of us, like an animal, or run away from it. So even though we're not cavemen anymore, our brains still, when faced with that immediate bad stressful situation, they're like, we need energy. So then you've got this kind of buildup of energy, and just letting it kind of simmer is just adding to that creates chronic stress because your body is wound up and it needs a release. You need to relieve the energy that builds up in you when you're stressed out, which is why, go for a walk, take up some kind of sport. Now the weather is getting a lot nicer out, go for a jog. If you have anyone you can safely interact with, play a game, play a game of basketball or something. If you're going to go for a walk, actually, a scientific study was done to show that spending 15 minutes in nature, just amongst trees for a solid 15 minutes, actually decreased the cortisol levels in your brain by 13%. So actually going out and getting some fresh air and being amongst nature actually has an effect on your body. It's not just a cliche of, just get some air, take a walk. You can actually do some serious good to your body by going out for a walk in the nearby park. And if you have a pet, definitely interact with them. There have actually been studies shown that just when humans are around animal, their stress decreases. It's a strange phenomenon. So if you have a dog, go for a walk with your dog. If you have a cat, hug your cat. You will feel your stress levels decrease, which I think a lot of people already know. But it is scientifically proven if you just wanted that verification. Third stress buster, laughter. Funnily enough, the part of our brain that creates the stress signals, the hypothalamus, also is responsible for creating laughter. So that's why some people start to laugh when they're nervous or stressed out, because it's made in the same part of the brain. If you wanted to know why you laugh when you're nervous, there's an actual reason for it. But laughter can it releases endorphins in your body. Like some people even do laughter therapy, where you force out laughs, and eventually you actually just forcing laughs, eventually you start to genuinely laugh, and then you're creating the endorphins. Which seems really weird, but yeah, if you wanted to give that a try, and you don't feel like trying to find a funny movie or something funny to interact with, force out laughs. It's gonna be weird, but I don't know. Eventually you will start to feel the effects, and you may start genuinely laughing too, because people are weird and that's just how our bodies react. Now there are other ways to decrease stress and just kind of deal with a stressful situation that I can't really demonstrate, like, going to sleep. That helps the body. Meditation. I'm not going to demonstrate a whole all these different moves. I don't have enough room for that. But we do have tons of resources at the library. We have, if you just look in our catalog, search up yoga, we have millions of books and articles in our database. So if you want to get into yoga and meditation, we've got beginner books. We've got stuff for kids. Like there's one book where it's animals doing yoga poses. Then we've got, more serious ones for adults and different levels. We even still subscribe to Yoga Magazine. So if you would really like to get into yoga to kind of deal with stress, definitely reach out to us here at King Library. We've got so many resources to help you out. Speaking of resources, for this video, I used a bunch of different books and articles I found in our database that I will link below in the description if you would like to have a look, because I definitely highly recommend them if you want to learn more about stress and how to deal with it, because I'm just sort of giving a summary of the topics and points that I learned. But if you want to have a more in-depth understanding, check out the description below where I will link all of the articles I used and the books I used. Also in the description box down below, I have provided some Zen coloring pages, which I know can seem silly, just coloring, but it's a very fun thing to do. If you don't want to think about anything, just print out one of these pages, take some time, like 20 minutes to yourself, and just color. Have fun with it. Or if you're more artistically inclined, you can do some drawing. That's a great de-stressor. Just set aside some time to yourself, like say even 20 minutes, and just get a pencil and paper and just draw. Just don't think about anything else, just draw whatever comes to mind. What's really important to keep in mind when doing the online schooling is to create boundaries between your school life and your school time and your free time, which I know is more difficult now that everything is all from home. Like you may be spending your entire day in your bedroom doing school and then homework and then free time, and then having it be, oh, your personal computer is now also where you're doing school. It's really hard to get away and feel that separation, which is not good for your overall mental health. Again, it'll make you feel very overwhelmed, like the stress is constant. So researchers have really recommended trying to maintain as many of your habits you had before working from home in this new situation. Like it might seem silly, but when you're done your online class, like shut down your computer, go for a walk around the block, and then you come back and now it's okay, this is after school time, this is leisure time. Because it just helps to differentiate. School is done, now I'm in me time. This is a different time now. Or even if you want to change your clothes, like it's just anything that can help signify that this is now my personal time and not my school time. You know? Even if it's possible in your house, try to designate different rooms to be, in this one room, this is where you're going to do your online classes. Like maybe that's the dining room. And then when you're done that, then you relocate and now you're in your bedroom where you may work on homework, but for the most part, it's your personal space. That's your you time. To conclude this whole thing, really just take care of yourself. I know it may seem silly to do stuff like breathing and moving and drawing, but it really will help you out. Us here at the library really care about the students, and we want to do our best to help you. That's why we've got so many resources for you to access and why I'm doing this video for you, because we really do care. We don't like that you're so stressed. Another thing I'll have linked in the description down below is if you're stressing because of how you're doing in school, we do have now a link to an associated site that is actually online tutoring and all kinds of study resources. It's called Brainfuse. It's a really awesome resource, so I definitely recommend checking it out, because I know, it's hard to just have study groups now and ask for help, but us here at the library really want to help you as much as we can. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I was able to help in any way to deal with stress, either with the ideas I suggested or the resources I've provided. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your April break at home. We've got lots of other fun videos planned that aren't, serious like this one. And there's so many other activities going on with the library this week. So definitely check that out. Hey, it can help you de-stress. Take some you time and check out some of the fun stuff we're offering here at the library. Okay, bye-bye.